This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
You're watching INCRadio. INCRadio. California, Central Valley, California, Central Valley, California, INC Radio, Central Valley, California. Woo!
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of our viewers and our listeners. My name is Jill San Antonio, and welcome to INC Radio, Central Valley, California. I am coming to you live from sunny Santa Maria, California, and I am so excited to be here back with you all. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm excited to also have my lovely co-hosts as well, Harry and Melvie, which you all know as well. So, for today's show, I'm very excited to not only introduce our topic, but we have the most perfect guest for our topic as well, and for today's show. So for today's show, our theme is teamwork makes the dream work. I'm sure that we can all relate to either being on a team, whether we're athletes playing on a sport, on a personal team, or even in our professional lives working in a team. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce our guest for tonight. We have William, also known as Bill Dorsey.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. How are you? Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Bill, for taking the time to be with us tonight on our show. So we'll go ahead and get started right into it. We do have a jam-packed agenda into our show. So if you want to go ahead and give us a background to who you are, where you come from, maybe a previous role where teamwork was relevant to yourself, and also, in connection to working in a team.
Okay, I'm Bill. I'm Brother Bill from the locale of Delano, and I have a background in leadership as a U.S. Navy recruiter in Ventura, California.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, I have to ask as a bonus question, just because because we are on the topic of teamwork, I'm a huge sports fan. So I don't know if a lot of you know, but I have to ask you, do you have a current favorite sports team or player, and why?
I'm from Philadelphia, California. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and my favorite football team in the NFL are the Eagles. So I've stuck with my team back east because that's where I'm from. And my favorite sports player is one who passed away, the late Kobe Bryant from the Lakers.
Yes, I can definitely relate. And congratulations to your Eagles. And yes, Kobe Bryant is definitely a very inspirational player. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for sharing. So we'll just go ahead and dive into it. So when it comes to teamwork, how would you define teamwork in your own words?
Teamwork, in my words, is a group of people that are working together in unity for one common goal to be successful.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. And that definitely goes right into our theme. So teamwork makes the dream work. That's exactly what the phrase is. So, it's a team that's working together for the common objective, common goal. Let me ask actually some of our co-hosts, what would you say is teamwork in your own words? Melvie, what do you think?
Hi, everyone. Hi, listeners and viewers. Before I answer your question, I just want to say thank you, everybody, and welcome back. And I'm so happy, or we're all so happy to have our beloved, beautiful Jill tonight as our first time host and also our guest, Bill. Now, with your question, Jill, actually, Bill answered it for me. But I'm going to add in as far as other than group of people working together for a common goal, it's also important to learn and grow together.
Yes.
Because as a team, you're more effective. So instead of just you by yourself, if you think about it, you are more inclined to achieve a lot faster, whatever that goal may be that you have, and also be able to get to know others and work together as a team. So
I
that's what I could say based on my experiences.
Oh, absolutely. I love that answer. And that just reminds me of that phrase that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go together or go together, go, or if you want to go far, go together. So
Yes.
I love that. What about you, Terry?
Well, those are, how can you top those two answers right there? It is teamwork. I think, like they mentioned already, I believe people that are working together for a common goal, but learning together as well and trusting each other for the work that you're going to do for that goal to be successful. That's what I think for me is teamwork.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for sharing those lovely answers. Now, I want to learn from Bill. And also, too, before I kind of get started into our series of questions, I want this to be as interactive as possible. So even though I may be asking our co-host and also Bill these questions, please feel free to drop in your answers in the Vine chats. I want to learn from you all who's listening, and we'll work here as a team. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So, Bill, since you did work in the Navy, so thank you so much for your service there. Can you walk us through a situation or specific situation where teamwork led to a successful outcome or a win?
Yes, being in the Navy, my last duty station was in Ventura. I was the recruiter in charge of the Ventura recruiting station. And recruiting can be a very difficult thing to do because you're set out with a standard each month to have, well, our standard was 5. We needed to recruit each month. And being in the military, that's pretty much an order. It comes in from the top and saying that your station they will have 5 recruits for each month. It became rather challenging because not only 5 recruits, but they had to be different kinds of recruits. In other words, we would have to recruit a Hispanic, a Black, a female, like that. And then so it wasn't just like go out and recruit 5 people. But they were happy at the end of the month if we did reach our standard of 5, but they were more happier if we reached also the standard of the different ethnic groups and the different cultures that we actually got to recruit. So it was a very difficult task, but sitting down with my recruiters in Ventura, and we talked about it because we worked sometimes 6 days a week, sometimes 12, 13 hours a day recruiting, but I came up with a plan with my recruiters and we sat down and we made it work so that we would have every Saturday off and we wouldn't have to stay late. So it was a challenge to do that, but we were successful because we sat down and worked together. And me as the leader, but I also listened and also got their input. We worked together to achieve that.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. And that does sound very challenging. So that's about 60 recruits per year. So wow, big kudos to you for leading the team and for being able to achieve those goals. How would you describe the collaboration and the communication while you were trying to achieve those goals? Because obviously that's not very easy.
We, in the mornings, what I did it to motivate we would go to work at 8 o'clock, everybody on time, and then we would have our coffee and donuts or whatever for breakfast. But I would play a motivating song for them so that would uplift them and that get us everybody in the same spirit before we went out and recruited. So they enjoyed that a lot, and it made things a lot easier than just coming in and just getting right to it. And then everybody enjoyed that, so it was easier to go out and do our jobs.
I love that. Now I have to ask, what was the song?
It was called by Ashford and Simpson. No, there ain't no stopping us now. So
Oh,
you can Google that and play that, and you can see how it motivated us. And it's a motivating song. So we did that. That was our daily routine. And when we,
Classic.
so you can play that, and you'll see how it motivates you.
Oh, absolutely. I think the majority of us definitely know that classic song. So again, thank you so much for sharing. That's amazing. And I love that. Just starting off with a great mindset, great start to your day. That really makes a difference. And that just kind of just shows what kind of leader or what kind of role you play in a team environment. So that also is a great segue into my next question or even next section of that. So obviously, you were able to be a great leader. What would you say would be your type of characteristic when it came to working in a team? So what were some of the weaknesses that you had as a team leader?
One of my weaknesses that I had as a team leader, that I took everything to heart. I was really serious. If
Mhm.
we, didn't do the things that we needed to do to be successful, I would kind of take it personal. But I learned to overgrow that, outcome that, and not put it always on myself or feel bad, but continue to uplift myself. Because as a leader, people can tell, even those with you can tell what you're carrying on your shoulder, and you don't want to convey those negative thoughts to them, because it could, affect what we were doing. So I had to control that and control myself. So that was one of my biggest weaknesses.
Endurance. Wow, mental endurance. That's amazing. And I could definitely relate. Anybody that could be a leader or is a leader, we could be our own worst enemies, and sometimes it could be one of the hardest things. So big kudos to you for being able to overcome that and to be strong for your team. That definitely shows a lot about your characteristic and how you are as a leader. Everybody needs a Bill in their lives, I would say. Now, on the flip side, aside from your weaknesses, what would you say would be your strengths? I think you kind of already touched on that as being a good motivator, but what would you say was a big strength that you were very proud about?
One of my big strengths, I believe, because I always thought what you call in terms of being outside the box, I became very creative on
Mhm.
how to be successful. And what I did was, we had like 16, 17-year-old high school kids that loved to hang around the office. And what I did was, I actually put them to work by making telephone
Mhm.
age to come down and talk to the Navy recruiters. And I sent my recruiters out in the field to colleges and to the high schools, and actually go recruit personally. So that was
Wow.
an idea I came up with that helped us to be very, very successful.
That's great. Yeah, just improvising and just being creative, using that part of your brain. I was gonna say that's actually one of my weaknesses. I'm not very creative when it comes to those things, but my strengths is being organized and time management. So again, working and collaborating as a team. So with that, let's hear from our Vine chat. So I'll pass it over to Terry. But not only that, not only our let's read our Vine chats, but I also want to see what are some strengths and weaknesses that our listeners have. I want to be able to hear some of that. So passing over to you, Terry. What's going on over there?
Yes. Yeah, so we have a lot of people that's already talking about our topic for today, which is teamwork. But first, I want to go ahead and acknowledge all of our listeners and our reviewers. First, Brother Benji De Los Reyes from the locale of Delano, Brother Danny Aglipai from Rosie, Brother Rudy, our very own, Brother Rudy Ilaga, of course, and Sister Caitlin, Sister Helen Galapon, Sister Roxanne Alfonso, Brother Romel Bautista, Sister Veronica from Delano de la Rosa, Sister Juvelin Gallo, Sister Kate Ganzon, Brother Arthur San Antonio, Brother Mario Oka from Brixtonville, Philippines. He's, of course, our he's always on Friday. So thank you so much for your support, brother, sister Becky Zook, and others. So they have on here that their weaknesses are can help us grow stronger. Okay, don't look at it as a, sometimes we look at it as a fail or something, but it can develop us, something like that happens to us. And also our very own Sister Flo has on here also. She tells us that we should always, I know we take things personal when we have, uh, when something goes wrong, but like you mentioned, it can be turned around as a strength. We should make it so we can develop ourselves to learning and be persistent in as a team. Okay, so there's many more, but I want to bring it back to you, Jill.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much. And that's exactly why I wanted to hear from our listeners and viewers, because we're all learning here. Like you said, even though they may be so-called weaknesses, they do turn into strengths. It's all just a learning opportunity as always. So thank you so much for that. And we'll get back to our series of questions here, because I want to learn more about your story. So thank you so much for sharing about your strengths, weaknesses, how you are as a character. So while you're in the Navy, Bill, what were some of the common obstacles that you and your teams faced during that time?
One of the main obstacles that we faced were the parents, because some of the prospects that we were recruiting were like 17, 18, and some going to college later, some plan to do other things. But when we went to talk to them, parents were kind of like, no, my son is not going in the military. Don't talk to him, don't talk to her. So those were challenges right there. But we overcame them, if they didn't want us to talk to them. But a lot of times, believe it or not, the kids still would come down to our recruiting station and talk to us. And I told them, well, you can't go in until you're 18, and that, because you're 17 and your parents may not sign. But sometimes the kids got their parents to turn around and they would actually sign for them.
Oh, wow.
So it was a challenge, but actually we actually got it done. So
How were you able to get that done? Not only just, signing on the prospects or your recruits, but also, their parents. That's amazing.
well, I think the kids were more demanding than we were, because they would go back and put pressure on their parents. I want to go. Kids can be pretty persistent also. I want to go, I'm going. And one kid told his parents, I'm 17, but next year I'm still going. Let me get a head start on my future in the military. And they would give in and sign. So
That's amazing. That is incredible. That's amazing to hear. Thank you. With that, so we've heard some obstacles, with the recruits and parents. How would you personally deal with conflict or misalignment within your team?
Keeping everyone positive and keeping them motivated was a big thing. And help each other out if a recruiter was having a hard time, or sometimes if they couldn't really convince the person to come in or talk to them, we would have somebody else in the office talk to them, another recruiter, because sometimes a different face, and a different voice, it would actually help out. So we helped each other out in that, if they needed help, we would help each other out.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's amazing. That's definitely a great leader right there. So yeah, that's amazing work, and happy to hear that you're able to be successful, not only just with the recruits, but also leading your team. So I have to ask, with that, what would be some of your tips and advice for building stronger teams? What advice would you give to us here and all of our viewers that are listening from your story?
Building a stronger team is depends on the situation, actually. Go in and talk to everyone and tell them the goal that we're going to set and how we're going to do it, and ask their opinion on how they can help. What would be their part? I'm the leader, but even though I'm your leader, you can come talk to me and tell me what your ideas are, and we can also use those ideas to be successful. So let everyone know that they had a part, and speak freely on your part, so that if you saw something that we weren't doing right, let's be open-minded so that we can fix it and move on.
Absolutely. And I think that's more relatable and more real. That's probably why you were so successful in that, because you were real with everybody. You were honest, and they could definitely feel that as well, the realness in you. So Terry and Melvie, what about you two? What would be some advice that you would give to our viewers in building stronger teams?
Melvin, you can go first.
You know, you unmuted first, right? Let's break the ice here. For a leader to be very effective, Bill mentioned so many aspects in terms of a person's attributes. And I've learned a lot from him today. And as a matter of fact, even with in our Vine chat right now or tonight. But for my experience, again, I'm going to go ahead and share with you my experiences that one particular leader was actually empathetic. She was warm. She was competent, and very, very kind. She knew how to lead a group
Mhm.
without yelling and yet being firm. I don't know how she does it, but there's only one person in my whole entire life that I've met who led us, especially this is actually in the workplace. So this was my previous, not my current workplace right now, but the previous ones. And she was just so amazing. Like there's so many attributes that I can mention about her, but when it comes to leadership, one, empathy is very important, because the minute you're leading a group of subordinates, and she did mention this to me, it's important that I learn each one of them, because each one of them needs to be addressed differently. Everybody has their unique abilities when it comes to approaches, when it comes to conversations, how they manage their own time and their workload in the workplace. But in order for all of us to become one as a team, she needed to understand all of our skills, including the ones that you mentioned earlier, the strengths and the weaknesses. So she already knew where to put us in places. And that way, every time we have a deadline, a crunch time, or for example, we're shorthanded, and we did experience that where there were 20 of us and all of a sudden there were only 8. And in
Wow.
a week matter of time, we had to make do of what we had and still complete the deadline for the auditors for, before they came. So I admired her. I told her that, I even thanked her before I left the company or the organization, and said, if and when I ever become a leader, I would love to emulate you, because you have the kindest heart that I've ever seen and experienced in my life. And I told her, thank you for teaching me so many things. It's hard to be a leader. I've led a couple of projects before, and it's very hard, especially if nobody wants to listen to you. No matter how you want to, no matter how you're trying. And yet, if they just don't like you, they just won't listen. But then again, you don't give up. As a leader, the one thing I think that I've also learned is you just don't give up, and you just do your best to make things work. And that, in the end, you learn something from it, and you care for them no matter what. Because at the end of the day, it's a teamwork after all, right? Like what you said, teamwork makes the dream work. That's
Exactly.
what I can say. Sorry
Absolutely.
about babbled like so many things,
No,
but
no, no. It's
yes,
okay.
I just wanted to share that because, like I said, I'm a very observant person, and I have my own shortcomings. But when I see others, and I've seen how they actually work hard, and just like Bill, when he started mentioning everything that he's doing, I was actually visualizing him doing what he's done during his time of in the military. So I've already felt what he's actually put in. So thank you, Bill, for sharing your own personal story. I've learned a lot from you tonight, so thank you.
Thank you.
All
And
right,
I
all
love
right, Terry, your turn.
I love that. It's not about what somebody says, it's about how they make you feel. And so I
Yes.
definitely feel that. So thank you so much for sharing. What about you, Terry?
Okay. What was your question again?
What is some advice that you would give to our viewers in building a stronger team, or even just some tips to being a better teammate?
Yes, of course. So I love being in a team. I used to be in a team. I love basketball, sports, and that. So being in a team is really crucial for success. as a whole. And being a leader, as Melvi had mentioned, and as well as Bill, it's not easy because there are times when the others will have a hard time swallowing what you have to say to them. But I think you have to know their skills and their strength. How you can work with that, and trusting in what they can do for the team. And if they have any questions, answer them. As a leader, I think you have to be patient and you have to trust them. And also, you have to be a role model for them so they can also learn from that. And later on, if they are in a team, they may be a leader too, as well. Right. So, trusting and leading as a role model, as an example. Okay. So that, like I said, someday they will be leaders as well, and they'll be good ones. So to teach others in their team.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you all so much for sharing that. Brother Bill, you are such an inspiration to all of us. Somehow this led to a leader discussion, but now everybody wants to be a leader like you. So thank you so much for that. But that with leaders, there's also followers, there's absolutely, we definitely do need. Everybody plays a role in a team. And that's where, like Terry said, the trust comes into play. Communication is also key. So all different aspects and characteristics are all very important, whether it's strengths or quote unquote weaknesses. So with that, brother or Bill, any shout outs that you'd like to give before we kind of wrap up here?
I just want to give one shout out to our beloved district minister. A belated happy birthday to him and to his wife, which is her birthday is coming up. So happy birthday to our district minister and his wife.
Wonderful. Awesome. Yes. Happy belated birthday. And thank you so much. And where do you come from? Where are you coming from today?
Where am I coming from today?
Where are you you based out of? Tell our viewers where you're based out of.
Out of Delano. Oh, okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for representing Delano very well, and we thank you so much for having you on our show. Terry, Melvi, any last minute words before we kind of wrap up here?
Thank you. Go ahead.
Let me go first this time. I just want to mention that there are others who were on the chat, like PJ and Tara, Sister Mary Diaz, Diwa from the Philippines, from the Baliches. Thank you so much for watching po. Brother Manny Hatulan and Brother Bani Bondok and Brother Asa Fajardo. My shout out, thank you so much once again to Bill and for having me here, Jill, and to all our viewers and our listeners. Thank you so much. Please continue to support us every Friday at 9. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Back to you, Jill.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. And I want to give a shout out to our entire team here. So thank you so much to all of our viewers, everybody that tuned into our evening Friday night, as Terry mentioned, every Friday night at 9 p.m. But I'd love to, thank our spiritual leaders as well. Our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our deputy executive minister, Brother Angelo Irania Manalo, our CEBSI president, Brother Ralph Francis Esquera, and our INC radio station manager, Brother Wally Teray. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to meet and join us this evening. Please join us every Friday at 9 p.m. See you then. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Don't forget to
Happy
like.
birthday po.
Birthday, all the birthday.
O Diyos na pagpamay nagtindig ka ng mga lingkod mo mangunguna sa bayan nga iyong inihala sa iglesia sila